Hey, what's going on, you guys? This is James. Just wanted to do a quick deck profile. I recently got top 4 in the Southpark regional, and I did it with Crystron K9. It's a really cool deck, so I wanted to do a quick profile on it and kind of go over some of the choices that I made with the deck. First, I want to give some shout outs. Shout out first and foremost to the homie Quan. Quan is the boy, just or farming at my desk. He's not playable, so he's not in the deck, but I just wanted to make sure that he gets some credit here because he's just great. Second shout out, I want to make sure to shout out TeamSlapPhase. A lot of the guys there were working with me on this deck. Really awesome group of guys there. So check them out on social media and everything if you want to follow them for deck profiles. And a lot of their guys are up and coming, trying to get their invites and everything. So lots of cool things happening over there. And then I guess last shout out to Beef Gravy. If you know, you know. So let's go ahead and get started. So first, I want to go over the main deck. Some of the one-ofs. Smiger, Tristro, Scrap Recycler, Honorary Crystron card. These are the minimum necessary really to play the deck. There are some people that are playing Fistburn. I've seen a couple of builds running multiple Smiger, extra tuners. The way you're running the deck, it's really a K9 control deck. And it really doesn't need all the extra cards in there. They tend to be not as great as some of the other cards, so diminishing card quality, you don't really want to put extra of stuff in there that you don't need. So this is the minimum that you need to get the engine running. We got 2 copies of the yellow guy, 3 copies of this guy. The original deck used to run 3 of the Sulfefnir and 3 of the Sulfador. With this deck, you have access to Jokul, and that makes Jokul and Sulfador one of the craziest 2-card combos in the game. It plays through a whole lot. So maximizing on the Sulfador, being able to summon it before its effect machine locks you and get the effect of Foolish is really awesome. Sulfefnir is still great though. If you do open Crystron cards, you can get them in the graveyard using Sulfefnir and get access to your Sulfador or your tuner depending on what you need. So you definitely want to, I think this ratio is correct. I've seen some people doing 3 Sulfador, 1 Sulfefnir. I think it can kind of open you up to not being able to do your combos because you have too many pieces in hand. 3 Inclusion and the Cluster. These are all mandatory. Crystron Inclusion is 3 extra copies of every Crystron card in the deck, so it can get you whatever you need. It has a graveyard effect to be able to bring back a Crystron card in the graveyard, so it's pretty awesome. Cluster gives you some nice layering into board breakers like Dark Ruler and stuff. Being able to pop 1 or 2 cards on the field and recycle your Crystron cards back. That's definitely something that's needed in the deck for your grind game, so that's really cool. That's it for the Crystron cards in the main. Moving on to the engine that is really kind of taking over, really not just this deck, but a lot of decks, and that's the K9. So we have 3 Azunas and 3 Jokuls. Jokul is crazy with Sulfador because you reveal Sulfador, and there's so many things that they could hand trap there. Like if they stop the Jokul, they're keeping you off of getting Azuna. But if they don't stop the Sulfador, then you get the Crystron stuff in the graveyard so that you can play. And regardless, if they don't remove a body from the board, you're going to go into Ripper. It's going to be even more value. So this is just a great card. Azuna, along with Lupus, is just crazy for turn 0 interaction. Being able to quick effect make an XZ and have Lupus as a material so it's untargetable makes it so it can just make them play really awkwardly on their turn 0 because they could be expecting it at any moment. And really kind of going second with this deck, in my experience, has been a little bit better because of the Lupus being a quick effect. So this package is crazy. I think these ratios are correct. I don't think you would run lower of each. Moving over to a couple of the other pieces, we have the 1 Lantern, and I am running the Force Release. The reasoning behind the Force Release is the non-targeting pop that it provides is really great, but also Werewolf being able to look at their hand and banish a card until the end phase, giving you hand knowledge. You know what you need to respond to and what you can let go. And a lot of times that can just be enough to win the game by itself. But also, whenever you're playing into non-engine, like if you're playing into Lancia or if you're playing into Droll or anything like that, sometimes being able to see this card and just putting up a half board makes it to where those cards don't really kill you. So I definitely think that it's something that I'll continue to play moving forward. Some people are cutting it because they think it's bricky, but I think that the layering that it gives to your half boards can be pretty good. For consistency cards, playing 2 Chaotic Elements, 2 Case for K9. I've seen a lot of builds playing 3 of this card, and while I agree that it's a very good card, there's so many good cards in this deck, and a lot of them have hard once per turn effects, and these are no exception to that. Chaotic Elements being a hard once per turn and only being able to search your Jokul or your Lantern makes it a little more limited than Case, but by going 2 and 2, I'm still running 4 consistency spells while not kind of falling victim to drawing multiples of cards that are hard once per turn. The Chaotic Elements has some added benefit with some things you'll see in the extra in the side. Being able to turn on the board breaker effect is pretty good. But that's it for the engine. Moving on to the non-engine, we've got 3 Ash, 3 Fua, 3 Imperm. I think a lot of these are just really self-explanatory. Ash Blossom playing into a K9 field can stop their Azuna from dumping Lupus, so you don't have to deal with it turn 0. It can deal with the fusion spells for Draco Tail. It deals with Obedient Schooled. Like, this card is just crazy. I know it can turn on Azuna, but that's just something that you're just going to have to get over and build your deck to play into that or play around it. Fuelos is broken. I don't really have to say anything there. It's just a baby Max C. And then Imperm. I wanted something in here that would give me some play into, like going second into the Draco Tail matchup. Being able to hit their Arthalion before it can resolve, because they're normally going to chain block it with something like Bell. Having something like this that can target is just really good. Going into Yummy too, being able to play this to force their Herald is kind of alright too. So I think that there's some value here, and not turning on Azuna is a big part of why this card's good too. So that's part of the non-engine. Moving on to the next part, I've got 2 Ghost Bells and 2 Ghost Ogres. These cards were absolutely crazy all day. Bell being able to hit graveyard effects, being able to stop stuff in your graveyard from getting banished, Ogre being able to hit the opponent Lupus and banishing it and taking care of it so I don't have to worry about it in the grind game. Stuff like that was just absolutely crazy. And these were kind of in here too as like a going second into like Draco Tail, being able to play into their board and knowing that I can just play monsters in defense to play around the trap that puts things in attack position, and then using Bell to check the one that negates spells. It makes it so that you can kind of play with what you have. You just kind of have to know like what to play into their board, and Bell kind of makes that possible, makes it a little easier to work with. Bell's also good into the Yummy matchup. If they go to tag one of their guys out and revive from grave, this is a good way for you to get rid of that interaction. I'm also playing 1 talent because it's talent. Having an answer in the deck for turn 0 plays, dealing with like a turn 0, like a window, or dealing with an untargetable XZ. This was just another option that I had in here since it can be a non-targeting take. But it's very versatile. It won me a lot of games when I did see it. And the last card in the main to take us to 41 cards is main deck Cosmic Cyclones. So this is something that I was working on with some people in a Discord group. The idea came up because we were anticipating that Yummy was going to be the deck to beat for this event. Because recency bias, Triff winning the most recent YCS, we just thought that it made sense that a lot of people would be on Yummy, and then maybe Draco Tail behind that, and then K9 VS. So we kind of built to beat the 3 of those, but this was a tech specifically to try to give us an edge on game 1 against the Yummy matchup specifically. The reasoning behind this card, it does have some other application too, but the big reason is to try to take out the Yummy field spell. If you can banish the Yummy field spell, I really don't care about their cupcakes and how cute they are. They can't get over a defense position Sulfador. They're just not going to. So this was just kind of in there for that. It does have application to other matchups. If you're playing against Dracotail and they have a turn 0 play where they're setting like spell cards, or if they're setting their trap cards, this can hit some of those and kind of put them in awkward situations if they set the spell card because they don't have one in hand. This can force the trap card for K9 Vanquish Soul 2 to get it out of the way so their biggest interruption is gone, taking out field spells. Taking out just random floodgates that people are starting to play. People are playing like Rivalry, Tikaboo, stuff like that. This can kind of help with some of that. So it does have multi-purpose, but there were a lot of times that I sided this out too. Oddly enough, the entire regional, it was an 8-round regional. I went 7-1. I didn't play a single Yummy the entire time. It was absolutely crazy. But Cosmic came up a lot. It came up in my top 4 match in the mirror, where I was playing against somebody on Crystron. They hand trapped me like in my opening hand, and I only had Jokul, normal summon, and try to search. That was my only play, and I set a called by and a Cosmic, and Cosmic on his inclusion just broke his back. Like, he was audibly just like, what? Like, what is that? But since it banished the inclusion, it denied the search, and it denied the graveyard effect, so it really put him in an awkward spot, and I was able to take that game. So yeah, Cosmic was great. I don't know if I'll continue to run it going forward. It'll need some more testing. It was kind of a last-minute inclusion, but it did do what I kind of needed it to do, but we just didn't get to see the application against Yummy. So, moving on to the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're only on the 1 tuner, so the Synchro package is really light. We have 1 Skelly, 1 Dragster. Being able to put Skelly back with Cluster makes it to where you can always keep him in rotation, and then if your Cluster gets outed, you can make Skelly again and then add back the Cluster, so it never really goes away. So just having the 1 is fine. This extra deck is really, really tight. I really wish that we could run like 20 extra deck cards, because there's so many concessions that you kind of have to make depending on how you're trying to build this deck, and just running the 1 Skelly was something that I had to get more comfortable with so I could have extra space. The Dragster comes up with the turn 0 combo, just being able to end on Infinity Dragster Ripper with Cluster set, maybe the quick play spell. Like, it just puts so much pressure on the opponent having this spell trap negate, being able to check talents, being able to check some of the breakers in the format. It's just a really good card, so I don't see myself playing this deck without it. Moving on to the links, we have SP and we have Clockwork Knight. There's some combos in this deck where you can make SP and protect yourself from targeting negation, like Impermanent Veiler. A lot of people are starting to either side deck or have a slot in their extra deck dedicated to Mega Fleet, and what it can do is it can completely break this board if you leave SP in the EMZ and then you have Infinity in the main monster zones. They can just contact fuse and then use that body to just swing over your Dragster, so they can take out your whole board if you don't play around that. So if you are playing this deck, be mindful of that. But SP really just kind of there as an inboard piece or to help you play through disruptions. It can be used to break boards going second too. But Clockwork Knight's great. There's a card in the side deck that you guys will see here shortly that gives this guy some more utility. In the original deck, he was really just kind of in here as a link 1 to get your Smigers and stuff in the graveyard, since you can only use 1 of their effects per turn. But he has a really cool effect to be able to get tuners back from the graveyard. Part of the combo to be able to bridge from K9 into Crystron involves this card and the Scrap Recycler. So these are both, in my opinion, they're necessary for the deck. Nova Infinity, nothing really to say there. Crazy inboard piece. It's wild that we're able to make it. Riverstormer. Riverstormer's in here to be able to bridge. You detach material and you can search your Scrap Recycler. So you want to keep your normal summon for that Scrap Recycler if you don't have access to your Crystron engine. So that's really what this is in there for. And then you contribute it off with the link 1 to be able to get another use of Scrap Recycler because it's not once per turn. So that's really cool. Then I have the Ripper and the Werewolf. Like I said, some people are cutting the quick play spell from this deck. I think that it gives you just so much value with the half boards that sometimes you have to make through like hands where you get hand trapped to death and you just have to end on a Ripper and a Prayer. Sometimes this is enough. In Werewolf, like if you resolve it early enough in their turn where you can look at their hand and you have hand knowledge and you know exactly where to use all your interactions, that's just absolutely crazy. The fact that it also gets to rip a card is just nuts, but just the hand knowledge alone is great. I decided to go with a Nash Knight package. So I have the Nash Knight, the Honor Arc, and the Honor Dark. I never made the Honor Dark with the 3 level 5s. It does have an ability to just kind of take things on the board, kind of like Nash Knight does. But the idea with this is to have a turn 0 play that's untargetable that can non-target suck up one of their guys. Then on my turn, I can do it again and attempt to go battle phase and threaten a Zeus to clear the board. If they out this, you'll notice that these are 3 Aquas, so those turn on Chaotic Elements board breaker effect. So going into this turn 0, having an interruption on their turn, another interruption on your turn, and then being able to threaten Zeus is crazy. So for now I'm on that, but if you need extra deck space and you're not trying to play it really control, you're trying to play more combo, you could use those spots for that. I've got Durandal and Smasher. Durandal is crazy. I know a lot of people just kind of use this thinking that they can do the Droll hand loop thing where if people fool you, you summon this and then use Droll to just remove all the cards from both your hands. And if you have a board and they're top decking, like that's really a tough situation to be in. That never really came up. For me, I really kind of built this as an inboard piece to be a negation, using it to force people to pop the Case of K9 in the back row. So it was pretty cool in that regard. You could also use it as a disruption on your opponent's turn if they search like a critical piece to their combo and you shuffle it back into the deck, and if it's like a one of and you know they're not able to get it back out, so like Mitsurugi Ritual or something like that, that can be really impactful. So Durandal's great. Smashers, some people love him, some people hate him. He's in the format. I didn't make him a single time this regional. I didn't have any Smasher effects winning games for me. I only lost the Smasher once. It was in my top 4 match. That was the only match that I got Smashered in. I lost game 2 in my top 4 match to Smashers. But yeah, Smashers is crazy if you can resolve it, but there were a lot of times where I was in a position where I thought that playing more of a control game and just kind of holding my resources for follow-up was more important than trying to FTK my opponent with Dice Smashers. And then Zeus. There's not really a whole lot to say. Zeus is crazy in this deck. You're playing an XZ-based deck. If you get a battle phase where you're able to swing in and do some things, Zeus being able to wipe the board, especially if you can get Lupus up underneath him, so he's unaffected or untargetable. That's pretty solid. But yeah, Zeus is just crazy in this deck. With the side deck, we got Slime. We also got 3 Droll Knockbirds. Droll Knockbird, I feel like a lot of people were kind of sleeping on this card. I was main decking it before we decided to kind of switch focus and identified Yummy as the deck to beat for this event. Because Droll and Lockbird doesn't really do a whole lot against Yummy, but it does a lot against Vanquish Soul and against K9 variants. So people will say like Droll turns on Azuna. We have hand traps in the deck. We're going to turn Azuna on anyway, but we've built the deck to answer Azuna. The thing with the K9 package, though, is that if you're going second and they open Jokul, Sulfador, or they open Crazy, Droll can kind of limit what the inboard is going to look like that you're going to have to deal with, and you might get Smashered, but that's why we've built the deck with something, like we don't have droplets in the deck, you'll notice. That's because you can't activate it on turn 0 if you're going second. We wanted as many interactions as we could have on our opponent's turn to be able to stop things like that from happening. But Droll and Lockbird turns off like the Lantern search, the Jokul search, the Case for K9 search. It can turn off the Ripper search if they go for their Jokul or Lantern search before the Ripper. So Droll can really limit what they're able to put up. So I think Droll's really good into the decks that are being played currently, but also put some respect on Mitsurugi and Ryzeal until those get hit. I think it's definitely a good pick for your side deck. Next, we got 3 Fenrir. Fenrir was put in here as some extra hate for Yummy and for K9 variants. The reason it's in here for Yummy is that you can summon it. Don't use the effect. Just go battle phase. Try to walk over their Herald. And then in main phase 2, when you're playing, when they try to interact with you, you can banish their field spell face down. So this is a way to kind of play into their board, put some pressure on them. So this combined with Cosmic, normally you can see one of them in your Yummy matchup and take out their field spell. Against K9, playing this going first, it puts their Azuna in check, because if they go Azuna effect to summon, as soon as it's summoned, their trigger effect happens, and you're going to be able to resolve your Fenrir to banish their Azuna. So even if they have Lupus, the best that they're going to be able to do is to use Lupus to revive and go into Typhon, which is okay, but it's not really going to like kill you. You'd likely want to have an answer for it though, because on their turn they could just run over something and make an untargetable Zeus, which would be kind of crazy to deal with. But this does limit their options on what they're able to do turn 0 with Azuna. I've also got 2 Perulia. I kind of went back and forth on using Perulia or Nibiru or Meows. I felt like Perulia would give me some extra hate against the Vanquish Soul K9 because I built the deck so heavily to beat Yummy. I did want to respect Vanquish Soul K9 because it is a very strong deck. But these came in a couple of times. They resolved and helped me out, but they weren't crazy or anything. Next, I have the Foolish Burial Goods package with a Clockwork Knight and the Black Goat Laughs. So in 8 rounds, I think I only played going first like maybe 5 or 6 times post side. Maybe not even that many, maybe 3 or 4 times post side. And there were just other, in the matchups that I had since I wasn't playing into Yummy, there were just better options. Like I oftentimes went into Droll and Fenrir instead of going into this package. But what this was here for is Foolish Burial Goods to send Black Goat Laughs. It just has a lot of coverage into the format. Being able to just say no to any monster name and just say no, get out of here, is just pretty good. Foolish Burial Goods also gives you some extra consistency going first, because it can send Black Goat Laughs, it could send Clockwork Knight. It has a graveyard effect to be able to search into a starter. Dumping an Inclusion to get the graveyard effect to revive can come up. Sending Cluster, if you didn't get it into the graveyard, to add it back with Skelly can come up. There's just a lot of application for this card, and this just gives you more options. I've seen people running like extra copies of Case of K9 or Chaotic Elements, and those are all good. But like I'd said before, if you're running 3 of all of those, there's a lot of times where you can have hands where you have cards that are hard once per turn that you can't really take full advantage of. And since we're not running droplets, you can't discard the extra ones. So yeah, I think that this in theory was great, but it didn't really come up because I didn't really play against Yummy or play a lot going first. Clockwork Knight, if you guys don't know, this makes all of the monsters on the field become machine monsters. I don't know if you guys are aware, but Yummy has to have Light Beast to be able to go into their plays, and if they're machines, they can't do anything. So Clockwork Knight is kind of an FTK against Yummy if you can resolve it. And you can search this off of your link 1 that you go into with your combo. So it's just a floodgate that you can search in combo. But this never got used. Last 2 cards on the side, I have Duster and Called by the Grave. Duster just wanted to respect some back row decks. There were times that it came up against Draco Tail to be able to blow some things up so that they didn't have plays on the following turn. Called by the Grave comes in going first to help you beat hand traps, to help you beat, if you've got the resources to be able to outgrind them. If you can Called by the Grave their Lupus, you don't get your Lupus effects for a couple turns, but they don't get them for the rest of the game. So Called by can be good there. It's good against turn 0 Fimenas. Like, it's good against a lot of things in the format when you're going first. So I just wanted a flexible card that I could just put in going first when I needed one. That is pretty much it for the deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you do have any questions, feel free to reach out to me on Facebook. You can message me on my profile I use to share different tournament results and stuff like that, deck profiles, replays if I play online, that kind of thing. If you have questions, happy to help out. Last shout out, I want to shout out Yassine and all the guys in the Crystron Discord, talking theory and talking deck profiles and lists and tech options and all this stuff. I'm a very busy guy, not able to really spend a ton of time testing and putting stuff together. So having some people that are investing a lot of time into the game to pick their brain and to help me with different ideas that I'm having and testing and just ideas in general has just been awesome. So if you guys are looking to pick the deck up and wanted to learn it quickly, I definitely recommend his spreadsheet. It's very cool. Even just access to the Discord is worth it enough. So anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Stay tuned for the next one. You guys take it easy.